He was there for 43 years. He said, I had 2 pygmies in my church. It killed one and ate it. Dinosaurs. There have been reports of these creatures in that swamp for a long time. There's a lake in Scotland called Loch Ness. Has anybody ever heard of Loch Ness? Loch Ness is a huge lake, 24 miles long, 1 mile to 1.5 miles wide, up to 900 feet deep. Loch Ness is big enough that everybody on planet Earth could go drowned in it at the same time. It would hold the entire population of the world. 6 billion people would fit in that lake. It's huge. In 1933, a roadbed was cut into the side of the mountain, because before 1933, if you wanted to see the lake, you got to climb over the mountains or go upriver 7 miles in your boat. So not many people went there. Very sparsely populated. In 1933, the first year the road was put in, there were 52 separate sightings of the Loch Ness Monster. This author said there have been 9,000 reported sightings today. Now that was back in the 1960s when this book was written. Today it's over 11,000 reported sightings of the Loch Ness Monster. 11,000. Of course, some are fakes and frauds, okay? I wouldn't trust the, Weekly World News, where they got all this weird stuff in there. But Sir Peter Scott's a member of Parliament. He said he saw it. He believes it's a plesiosaur. Almost everybody that sees it says it's this animal right here, a plesiosaurus. Long neck, 4 big flippers. One guy wrote a book and he said, some people think Nessie is a plesiosaur. There's one thing wrong with this theory. Plesiosaurs are believed to have become extinct 70 million years ago. Oh, is that what's wrong with the theory? I think this evolution theory has got to be the biggest hindrance to scientific research there's ever been. Okay? You look at the facts, forget your theories, look at the facts and come up with your conclusions. Now the Bible also talks about Leviathan, but that's a whole other story. We'll cover Leviathan some other time. So basically, God made everything in 6 days. Dinosaurs lived with man. People have killed most of them. There could be a few still alive. And Christians need to quit worrying about dinosaurs and start using them for God's glory.
That was just 30 minutes out of a 2-hour presentation. There are many more examples of unexplained creatures in the full version, such as giant humans 9 to 12 feet tall, animals thought to be legends like the Thunderbird or the Loch Ness Monster. You'll probably be surprised at how Dr. Hovind strips away the fantasy and exposes the realities of cryptozoology, or the study of hidden animals. A contemporary definition of the word fraud is something intended to deceive, or deliberate trickery intended to gain an advantage. Now, if something was proven wrong more than 100 years ago, why would somebody teach it today as truth? When a so-called scientific discovery is proven to be deliberate fraud, why isn't it removed from the curriculum? What is the real motivation in continuing to deceive? In this final segment, Dr. Hovind will give you an eye-opener on the lies in the textbooks.
The Bible says in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not bear false witness. Don't lie. Proverbs says, a false witness shall not be unpunished. He that speaketh lies shall not escape. Now, I like science, and I collect public school textbooks. I have hundreds of them from many, many countries, from clear back from 1880, I believe, to 2005, textbooks. I'm not against science. I am, however, against lying to kids. Now, in the first 3 videos, we talked about how students are being lied to about the Big Bang. It didn't happen. They're being lied to about the age of the earth. It is not billions of years old. They're being lied to about the cavemen. There's never been a caveman. They're being lied to about the dinosaurs. They did not live millions of years ago. I am not trying to get evolution out of the public schools. I'm not. I think any theory should be allowed to be taught, if you don't have to lie to support your theory with false evidence, okay? I am not trying to get creation into the schools. I am, however, trying to get lies out of the textbooks. I think we'll find if we take the lies out of the books, there's nothing left to support evolution. Wisconsin has a law that requires textbooks to be accurate. So does Alabama. Textbooks shall be adequate and current. Texas has a law that says instructional material shall be factual. Go Texas, okay? Florida has a law that requires accuracy of instructional materials, and the commissioner is responsible to remove books that are not accurate. California says textbooks shall be factually accurate and reflect current and confirmed research, okay? Minnesota says the teacher shall not deliberately suppress or distort subject matter. The problem is, none of those states enforce their own laws. This is a textbook from about 100 years ago. It says, God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. Prayer is a duty, but it's vain to pray without a sincere desire of heart. God governs the world in infinite wisdom. You believe that's a public school textbook? Well, here's one today. Evolution is fact, not theory. Birds arose from non-birds and humans from non-humans. No person who pretends to any understanding of the natural world can deny these facts. This textbook has over 100 pages where evolution is talked about. There's not one single mention of creation. They want to present one view only. It's called indoctrination, not education. Is there anybody here that thinks teachers or textbooks should be allowed to use outdated or false information just to get students to believe a theory? Would that be a good idea? No. Okay. Anybody here that thinks teachers that deliberately lie should be fired? Okay. Is there anybody here that thinks textbooks with lies should be banned or the lies torn out of the book? Think that'd be fair? All right. Well, buckle up, hang on, let's go. It's always amazed me how two people can look at the same thing and come to opposite conclusions of what they are looking at. You know, two people can look at Grand Canyon. One of them believes in evolution. He looks at the canyon and says, wow, look what the Colorado River did for millions and millions of years. The Bible-believing Christian stands there, looks at the same canyon, and says, wow, look what the flood did in about 30 minutes. Now, how was that canyon formed, huh? Textbook says over millions of years, the Colorado River carved the Grand Canyon from solid rock. Oh, now, hold on a second, okay? It's a fact Grand Canyon exists. I've been there a bunch of times, studied. I taught earth science for 15 years. I love studying Grand Canyon. There are two interpretations of how it got there. The evolutionists will say it formed slowly with a little bit of water and lots of time, like, you know, billions of years. The creationists will say, no, it formed quickly by lots of water and a little bit of time, like a big flood in the days of Noah. And the guys who believe in evolution are always trying to erase the line between their interpretation and try to include it as if it is part of the fact. No, it's just your interpretation, guys, okay? This textbook says, the Colorado River has cut through layer upon layer of rock over millions of years. Well, now hold on a minute. This textbook says, the Colorado River cut through 2,000 meters of rock, exposing sediment layers like huge pages in the book of life. Scan the canyon wall from rim to floor and you look back through hundreds of millions of years. I don't think so. I was in a debate one time and this atheist said, Hovind, you're so stupid. Don't you know it took millions of years to carve the Grand Canyon? I said, well, sir, there's a couple things you ought to learn about Grand Canyon. If you built a dam across Grand Canyon, a huge lake would fill in behind it, covering several states, okay? I mean, take a lot of dirt to build a dam, but if you could build a dam across that canyon, you'd have a really big lake. Actually, some of the water from Wyoming drains through the Grand Canyon. It has a huge drainage pattern. I said to this professor, I said, sir, there's a couple things to consider about this canyon. I said, these two red lines indicate what's called the snow line, okay? Between those two red lines is a ridge that gets about 6,900 to 8,500 feet above sea level. Now, the river enters the canyon at the far right over there at 2,800 foot elevation. The river flows downhill for 270 miles. Comes out the other side. If you look at it from a side view, a schematic view, it'll look like this. The river comes in 2,800 foot elevation. The ground rises up while the river goes down for 270 miles. I said, now, sir, there's a few things you ought to consider about this canyon. I said, did you know the top of Grand Canyon is higher than the bottom? He said, obviously. I said, sir, did you know the river only runs through the bottom? He said, well, yeah. I said, sir, did you know the top is higher than where the river enters the canyon by over 4,000 feet? He got a dazed look on his face like a calf looking at a new gate.